Now, I'm filming from Croatia, which is my home here in Croatia. And I want to tell you a little personal story, and that is from the time I was a child, I wanted to move abroad and I wanted to live there, somewhere else in this world, with green, rolling hills, nature, complete safety, where you can run in the middle of the night through the forest, completely safe, breathe fresh air, beautiful houses. But that was the external thing. But internally, I just wanted to be free, just to have that live and spirit free on this planet. And that's why I wanted to move abroad for a long time. And I used to visualize, and I have proof of this, where I was teaching many years ago in a program. It's called Law of Creation. I was showing my students I was drawing myself living in a house surrounded by nature. And all that was many years ago, before I'd even done a lot of travel. But then I got an astrology reading done. I did not get it done myself. Somebody from my family did it for me. And in the astrology reading, it said that this girl would travel around the world, but she would never live outside of India. She'd never live outside of India. I didn't like that reading. I also got an Akashic reading done very randomly when I went to this ashram, and I asked them, will I ever move out? Will I ever live abroad? And they said that you will always have trouble leaving the borders. They'll always be very difficult. You might leave, but it'll be very difficult to actually leave the borders. I didn't like either one of those readings. And the thing about my spirit is that if I don't get what my soul wants, my soul revolts. So I held on to that and I said, okay, I don't want to listen to someone else's depiction of my life. I want to see what I can create. So I continued on that journey. Now, during this time, we did actually end up traveling. Me and my family, we've been to 17 countries thus far, traveled across Europe, and I loved Europe. But then there was an issue. Number one was the absolute bitter cold. I started feeling very discouraged about moving to Europe because the cold was extremely bitter for me, for my South Indian body. I wasn't able to handle it. Secondly was our visa requirements. It was tough to get the visa appointments. It was also the insane process that we have to do in order to get one tiny little Schengen visa or European visa to any of these European countries. And also when I was in Europe, I wasn't feeling very good enough. Even though I'm older to a lot of people, I'm 33 years old now, I was feeling like a 10-year-old walking around in Europe because I just didn't feel like it was what I was worthy of. I didn't feel it was normal for me. So I started kind of in my mind thinking, maybe Europe is not meant for me. Maybe I don't want this. But again, the soul that I have would revolt and say, no, it has been my dream since childhood. I'm not going to give up. Maybe I can wear some better winter clothes so I can deal with the winter. We will work on your self-concept so you feel better when you're there, not like a 10-year-old. And God's rules are over man's rules. So man says you have to do 1,000 different things with our passport as brown people to come and get a visa in Europe. Then God has bigger rules than that. And God can or the universe, divine, can make things a lot easier for us. So I kept that in mind. And eventually I met my partner, who I met on Facebook. It's a whole crazy story. I met on Facebook, and he's from this country called Croatia, and I never heard of this country before, Croatia. And there's a little mystical story here also, which probably I will tell you guys another time. But I came to Croatia, did my visa processes, did all these things, and I loved it. It was everything that I wanted, with absolutely no crime rate, no poisonous snakes or animals or anything. You can go running in the forest at 12 in the night, 3 in the morning. No one's going to get to you. And the culture is totally open to women doing whatever they want and wearing whatever you want. So that sense of freedom was very strong, and I loved it. But then COVID came. And when COVID came, I hadn't seen my partner for over 400 days, and I still wanted to go. And this was a time when the whole world was shut down, travel was shut down, but I still had that deep knowing that I'm going to somehow make it. Now, a lot of people thought, hey, you were married to this person, so it's obviously you would have moved to Europe. No, I did not. I was not married at that time. During this COVID time, something miraculous happened, and it was called the digital nomad visa. The digital nomad visa was for someone exactly like me with a digital business who could travel and live from any part of the world while the rest of the world was in lockdown. I was traveling, and I moved to Croatia for an entire year legally. While the world was blocked, I was legally traveling for an entire year and I stayed here. It was also at the time that I got married here and I moved here. And this is now my second year of residence in Europe. Croatia is part of the European Union. Croatia is part of Schengen. So I have access to all these European countries to access, to live from. And the great thing, the greater transformation here is that I was told that I wouldn't be able to do all of this. But now I realize that when a goal or dream is given to you, especially something you've been holding since you've been very young, or any dream is not a dream but a vision of where you're actually meant to be. Don't let anybody else's opinion or thought or reading be the determining factor for what is possible in your life.